What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Collect or Disconnect. Today we'll be doing a quick unboxing of my $500 Big Bad Toy Store pile of loot haul. I've been sitting on this specific pile of loot for over a month now. If you guys aren't familiar with Big Bad Toy Store, I do have an amazing feature called Pile of Loot, where you can basically store all your purchases for up to 90 days and they'll ship it out to you for a $4 flat rate shipping, which is pretty mind-blowing in the action figure game. I highly recommend Big Bad Toy Store. I am not affiliated with them. This is not a sponsored video, but this is my biggest pile of loot I've ever received from them. It actually had to be shipped 2 different days, 2 different boxes. I thought it'd be like one giant box. Before we get started, you guys know McFarlane DC Multiverse will cease to exist in 2026. Really bittersweet. Marvel Legends and DC Multiverse takes all my money every single year for the past 5 years since I started collecting in 2020. So really bittersweet. But with that being said, every McFarlane DC Multiverse figures I pull out from these 2 boxes, I will be matching in a giveaway. Not the exact figure, but just another DC Multiverse figure. One of my next 2 live streams, I think. So if I have 10 DC Multiverse figures in here, I'm going to be giving away 10 of them. Hopefully it's not that many, just because, you know, I'm not making money and all. But I do want to do that because I think this was a cool line. I know the majority of people on the interwebs actually kind of despise and hate McFarlane DC Multiverse because they are 7 inches. People can't handle 7 inches, I guess. Pause. And they don't really articulate like Marvel Legends and like freaking Amazing Yamaguchi and all that, you know. But they are $20 figures you can find at Walmart and Target. So that's why I love them. That's why I collect. But yeah, enough of me talking, guys. I'm pretty excited to see what's in these 2 boxes that have been sitting in my room for over a month. It's kind of like Christmas in March. So without further ado, guys, let's get it cracking. Alright, so we are going to be doing the smaller box first. I have my handy dandy razor knife right here. And let's see if we can get it cracking and see what we got. I probably should stand up for this, so I'll just go ahead and scoot my chair back and we'll get right into it. Bubble wrap. The first thing we have up here, oh man, this is a beautiful sight. This is literally Christmas for me. We have a long awaited figure. I think this has been out for like the last 3 years. This is the Marvel Select Titanium Man right here. What is his actual real name? I know he's Russian, but I just always wanted this figure. He's so toyetic. He's obviously a giant figure, so I always wanted him. I think he was on sale at Big Bad Toy Store. He was like one of the last figures I added to my pile of loot before I shipped it out once I reached that 90 days. So right here we have Titanium Man from Marvel Select. Hopefully I have enough space on my desk to actually have all these figures out. Let me just go ahead and move the box. Alright, so going with Titanium Man is another giant Marvel Select. Here we have the Crimson Dynamo. I had to get both of these guys on the same exact day, the same purchase. They're just so cool. I love Marvel Select for their bigger scale figures. Speaking of that, if Mattel does come out with like some badass looking like bigger figures like Killer Croc and all that, I might be picking them up, but for the time being, I think I might be done with DC figures in 2026, just because I think I have everything I needed from DC Multiverse. I don't want to start over again. I've just started collecting in 2020, so that's 5 years ago. But yeah, other than that, I'm not going to be jumping ship from McFarlane to Mattel anytime soon. So next up, we do have a duplicate of 1 figure. So there's only 4 figures in this entire giant box. We have Jack-O-Lantern right here. Longtime viewers and friends of the channel know I collect all these cool looking Spider-Man retro cards. Double, I have an entire mint in box chest in my garage. I am planning to make a cool looking like store display for them, like a spins in a circle. I don't know what it's called, but I will be making one of those this year for sure. This was a highly anticipated figure. I was waiting for a sale, but for some reason it never went down, and I don't want it to sell out on me, so I got 2 of these bad boys. It kind of reminds me of Green Goblin with the scales on his armor, and he does come with like a little hovercraft, but does not come with a flight stand, so that will be a for sure must-have for the display. Alright, so for the first box, kind of underwhelming, only 4 figures. I guess these were a little bit more bigger than usual, and it came with a shit ton of bubble wrap. So there's the first box. I guess the rest of the figures are squished in this one giant box, probably with no padding, so let's get right into it. Alright, so this is a bigger box. I just want to show you guys real quick how big it is. Weighs like probably 50 pounds. Yeah, so here we have the biggest big bad toy store box I've ever seen. This might be a thumbnail right now, so let me just go ahead and pose myself. Boom. Handy dandy knife. Alright, so I'm actually gonna put this bad boy on the floor because he's way too massive. That's what she said. More bubble wrap and a shit ton of plastic goodness. There's that. My cats will enjoy that for sure. And right off the top, we do have another Marvel Legends card. This is a kind of retro homage to the Secret Wars. I think the entire Secret Wars line was created just to sell toys, so it's kind of funny that we have these modern day versions of them. This is the only one I got from this entire wave. I'm a sucker for Black Suit Spider-Man. This is the literal introduction of the Black Suit Spider-Man right here, a symbiote Spidey, so I had to get him. I think this guy might be staying in card for the foreseeable future. This Secret Wars homage blister card here is so freaking cool looking. He might be a mainstay somewhere in the collection posed up. But yeah, here we have it, the Secret Wars Spider-Man retro card, I guess you guys can say. Looking pretty cool. Can he stand up by himself? Yes, he can. I thought I had way more McFarlane DC Multiverse figures, so my little pledge in the beginning might not mean nothing after this. But let's go ahead and get out the biggest box. In the box, we have the DC Multiverse classic looking Darkseid with the thigh highs and the cape. I'm not really a fan of the cape look like we have right here in the back, so I might be doing some modifications, but unless McFarlane puts out like a more like modern, like 2010s looking Darkseid, this will be the big bad centerpiece for my DC Multiverse villain shelf right here. Highly anticipated. He's been sitting in my pile of loot since like 3 or 4 months ago, like I said. So we have Darkseid, DC Multiverse, my first pledge of the next stream, another mega figure. Next up, let's just grab another big bad boy. Holy crap, this is huge. This is the biggest freaking retro blister card I've ever seen in my freaking life. This is the re-release of Wilson Fisk himself, Kingpin. I never had the original one. I don't know if it came on a card as well, but this is huge, man. Holy crap. So I actually initially had 2 of these in my pile of loot. The great thing about pile of loot is if you cancel one of your items in there, you can get your money back within 7 days. And if it's been like over 7 days, in my case like 85 days, I canceled one of them and they gave me back the store credit, which I used to buy other figures that are in this box. So I think not even 24 hours after I canceled my extra Kingpin from Big Bad Toy Store, they had a Marvel live stream where they announced a Gamerverse Kingpin on the Joe Fixit body, which I think looks pretty badass, and he will be my actual Kingpin in my Spider-Man Rogues display, and this guy would just be staying mint in box alongside another Spider-Man right here. So this guy's pretty cool. My most hyped figure right now in hand. Just the blister card. I mean, I don't know, they're not called blister cards, right? They're called just card backs. Yeah, just the card back being this massive makes this my favorite pickup so far. So here we have Kingpin once again. Let me know if you guys are watching the Daredevil Born Again TV show. To me, it's a little bit lackluster. I think we've been like 2 or 3 episodes without the suit, which kind of is bass backwards to me. But hopefully it does get good because Punisher just came out. Spoilers if you haven't watched like the 3rd or 4th episode. Alright, so next up we do have my only Star Wars figure of this year. I think last year I only picked up like 2 or 3 of them. I would love to get back into Star Wars Black Series like I was for the first 2 years of collecting. It was mostly Marvel Legends and Star Wars Black Series, believe it or not, and then DC Multiverse. So this was the figure that took over 2.5 years to get in from Big Bad Toy Store. I thought they were going to cancel it, but I've heard they never cancel anything, supposedly. But yeah, 2.5 years in the making, I finally got my Padawan Ahsoka Tano. Star Wars: The Clone Wars animated series is the best thing Star Wars ever produced, in my opinion. I cried multiple times, especially at the end when she sees Anakin turn to the dark side. Just a really, really cool project. I think everybody should watch it. I know it's an animated project and a lot of adults think that's for kids, but believe me, that was some quality work, especially when they picked it back up on the last like 2 seasons, I believe. So here we have it again, the Star Wars Black Series Ahsoka Tano. I think she might be one of 2 figures I'm picking up this year so far from Black Series. Alright, so let's go ahead and get into my next 3 DC Multiverse McFarlane figures. I'm just going to pick these up at random. We have, boom, Captain Cold from The Flash's Rogue. This was a long time coming. I think he can still do a more classic looking Captain Cold, but obviously time is limited. He has like probably a year or like 11 months left to produce some figures. This image in the back is obviously more classic, just fabric, and this one we have in figure form is a redo of the page punchers, more stylized, McFarlane looking, detailed, textured, armor plated suit right here. But this still is my quintessential Captain Cold. I love when we get some more colorful looking figures from DC Multiverse. Not everything has to be all bland and dark like the Snyderverse, which kind of sucks.
You're so dark. Do you say you're not from the DC universe?
Red Pill Animations, fight me. But yeah, here we have Captain Cold again, looking pretty badass. This is one of the 3 new McFarlane Collector's Editions figures right here. So bittersweet, like I said, but so far we're donating 2 figures on my next stream for Disconnecting Legends. Alright, so next up we have Guy Gardner, the Green Lantern himself right here. I've seen a bunch of reviews about him so far. His bowl cut haircut is kind of funny, and his screaming face. This guy, I might open him actually today just because I want to see that bowl cut in action. I think we are going to be getting a live action version of Guy Gardner from the Superman movie coming out this year, I believe. Don't quote me on that, but Jaeger 101 is usually never wrong. So here we have another Green Lantern for the DC Multiverse collection right there. So we're up to 3 giveaways coming soon. You know what? Let's go ahead and make it 4. We have the highly anticipated Power Girl. Look at that freaking comic book art right there. She comes packing, literally. She does have her cat, I believe, called Speedy, which is pretty cool to add to the DC, what is it called, like Super Pets, I think. So we have Ace, Crypto, and now we have Speedy, which should look pretty cool in front of my DC Multiverse shelf right there. But yeah, we have Power Girl looking pretty cool. I think she has a wired cape, and I think the platinum version is her like in a red leather looking jacket. I'm kind of glad that Big Bad Toy Store does not send out platinums unless you pay an extra $10 for it, which is kind of scummy, but at least you know what you're getting. You'll never get a platinum randomly from Big Bad Toy Store, so I actually preferred the non-platinum versions for all 3 of these. So here we have it, guys. Here are my 4 DC Multiverse figures that I got in my pile of loot. So I'll be giving away 4 DC Multiverse figures on my next 2 live streams with NY Backyard Legend. Hopefully he can match me on that. That'd be pretty cool. Giving away 8 DC Multiverse figures on the Disconnecting live streams. We have my last Marvel Legends, another chunky boy right here. We have the Werewolf by Night Man-Thing. If you guys have not watched this Marvel Studios special presentation, I highly recommend it. I watched it for I think the last 2 years for Halloween. The first time I watched it was the black and white normal standard version, and then the second time I watched it was the color version. But I honestly prefer the black and white version. Man, this was a sick project. I hope to see Man-Thing and the Werewolf himself by night in the future in the MCU. But yeah, I've never actually had this guy. I think he's kind of like a re-release, retooled version of the first Man-Thing from Marvel Legends. I think maybe the head sculpt is a little bit different to be more accurate to the source material, the TV show. But like I said, I highly recommend watching Werewolf by Night today, tomorrow, or on Halloween like I did. So here we have it again. Man-Thing looking pretty cool. I want to see how he looks next to my DC Multiverse Swamp Thing. A couple of people from the green right there. People, monsters. And here we have my last one. And before we get into that, we do have a mandatory sticker right here from Big Bad Toy Store. Damn, this is actually kind of cool. This is a BBTS 2025 edition sticker. I've kept every single one they've included with the shipping, but this one is actually pretty cool, showing the figures. We have Deadpool, was that Ryu, Lady Thor maybe, and some other guy right there, but pretty cool. I might be adding that to another shelf in the collection. Whew. But alright, here we have my final figure from this big ass pile of loot. We have the NECA Gargoyles Broadway, another chunky boy right here. I believe his entire box was just chunky boy after chunky boy after chunky boy. Oh shit. Well, down goes Darkseid. Alright, so yeah, here we have the NECA Gargoyles Broadway once again. I believe they already officially canceled the line from NECA. Yeah, but this bad boy and his entire clan of gargoyles will be a future video in the next 2 or 3 months. I've collected every single one of them and only opened one. That was from my top 24 of 2024 list last year, the Steel Clan robots. But yeah, so it's going to be a pretty cool video unboxing every single one of these NECA Gargoyle figures. I'm saving a space for them since I moved in on the very top shelf because I know they have an extensive week span, every single one of them, and it's going to look pretty gnarly up there in the collection. So yeah, there you guys have it. I think it was 13 or 14 total figures. Let me go ahead and pull out every single one of them so you guys can see. Alright, so hopefully you guys enjoyed this real quick video of me unboxing all these figures from Big Bad Toy Store. I probably won't be opening these anytime soon, with the exception of a few of them. Like this Gargoyles, like I said, I will be making a video on. But you guys know me, I don't really open my figures the second I get them. I made a whole video where I opened 100 figures that I've been sitting on. So these guys might be going back in the box for the time being, in the attic, in the garage, until I finally get these freaking shelves decluttered and actually displayed properly. I will be giving you guys a hint for my next video coming out probably within the next week or two. I have been scouring the internet for possibly the greatest modern Marvel Legends Build-A-Figure. Right here we have the Void, so stay tuned for that, guys. And yeah, thank you guys for watching. I will catch you guys on the next one. Peace.
You have just witnessed another episode of Collect to Disconnect.